The biggest key to getting wins in Caldera or Warzone Pacific is managing your drop location successfully. And if you watch this video, you'll know how to do just that. Now, I don't know about you guys, but the first few games I had on Caldera were not only insane because they were in like 1.7 KD lobbies, but it was also really difficult for me to get down the flow of the map. But in the last 48 hours, man, me and my friends have really gotten in there and perfected what we think is our general strategy for probably the next year or so. And I'm really excited about this. Now, even though I'm not dropping 40s, we have all been doing pretty well. We'll have some gameplay on in the background while I talk about exactly how we're going to be perfecting your rotations and your drops. But we're going to start off here with my two favorite and then my two least favorite locations, and then we'll talk about how to manage your rotations after that. Peak to me seems like it's going to be the most popular spot. In Verdansk, we had places like Superstore and Hospital, and even to some extent Stadium had their time in the sun where they were the most popular hot drop. The problem is I don't see Peak ever getting outshined. Every game, there's a ton of teams there. It's an easy way to start off your game with at least 5 or 6 kills. Even if your squad isn't that good, 5 or 6 team kills is super doable if you land at Peak. There's a number of really great things about it. Like, there's a lot of verticality. You can fight low and high. You're constantly taking high ground on people down low as long as you land in the right spots. And all in all, it's just a great POI for fighting. So if you're somebody who really likes to get in there and get mixy, like you miss Superstore, you miss Hospital, because believe me, I do, Peak is definitely going to be the way for you to go. And also, with that same vein, say you drop there and your team gets slaughtered, you're the only one left, there's 4 teams at Peak, you're like, I gotta go. You can jump and literally parachute down the entire length of the map in whatever direction you want to go. And at that point, it really becomes less of where are you dropping and more of where are you trying to rotate to. And a lot of times for me, that's just more dependent on what the closest buy is to res my teammates. So we're gonna move on to my next favorite spot here, and that is actually Airfield. But there are some really bad sections of Airfield, okay? So you don't want to land over by tents, you don't want to land on that tower, you don't want to land on the other side by the hangars. All of these locations will get you destroyed, and I know because we kill people from the main building and rotating out of that main building in all of those spots. So we'll land on main building, loot up, kill everybody in tents because they're literally lower than us through paper mache buildings. We'll loot up, hopefully cross over Airfield, pop a UAV, and rotate straight down to the big hangar at the end where there's usually at least 1 or 2 teams fighting it out. Obviously, by the time we get over there, there's usually, you know, a team or 2 that's left, but still, there's a lot of action there. Not quite as much as Peak, and it's also not all in your face the way Peak is. So if you don't quite like Peak because it's so many people right in your face, then you might want to try Airfield. But the big buildings, like I said, because the rest of Airfield is really rocky, and it's because those main points are just so powerful. And this is not me saying that you have to camp them out. This will all happen in the span of a minute and a half. You'll land, you'll loot up, 1 or 2 people land on you, get those kills, and then you just look over to tents, pick up the kills in tents. Maybe you have to push tents, but usually we don't. Take that money, pop a UAV, and obviously min-max your guns so you're not carrying crappy guns around. But yeah, that's my preferred strategy for Airfield. The only reason I go into the strategy a little bit more on Airfield is because I notice a lot of people don't like Airfield, and it's just because they're playing it wrong. Airfield is so far, to me, one of the better, hotter places to land, as long as you manage your drop zones accordingly. Now, we've talked about kills, we've talked about strategy a little bit, but in terms of loot, why I like Airfield and why I like Peak are because those are the 2 spots on the map where I have personally found the largest amount of boxes. And granted, money is not a huge issue, but giving yourself a constant chance at the roulette wheel to get a good gun is worth it. Keep hitting boxes, keep hitting boxes. You never know what's gonna pop out, and right now, all of the floor loot guns are garbage, except for like the NZ41 and the NZ41. Most of the guns are bad, so you want to give yourself the most amount of options possible. Granted, you have to die with a few guns before you know not to use them, but I prefer to drop somewhere where there's a lot of boxes, not because I need the money, because obviously we're not getting loadout, but because you need to give yourself a chance to get a good gun, because really that's the only RNG part of this whole battle royale now, is just who can get the best floor loot. Now, following that same vein, we're going to talk about the places that I like the least, because I've noticed either there's just an abundance of head glitches or there's not a lot of loot there in general. The number one being Capital. I was really excited for Capital. I thought Capital was going to be the new downtown or the new Superstore, really, and it was not. It is head glitch city. I guess it's kind of like Superstore, but it's head glitch city. There's not a lot of boxes. It's just a weird, it plays weird to me. Maybe it's because I still haven't spent much time there like I have in Peak and Airfield respectively, but at the end of the day, for me, Capital just does not play the way that I was hoping it would. Again, hopefully, you know, with a little more time that changes. But in terms of loot, it's not nearly as good as Airfield is. areas, especially, again, those two main big buildings on either side. And then also something I wanted to mention here is Lagoon was supposed to be really cool. It's like any fight you take there is super one-sided. If you're in Lagoon and another team is holding you from outside Lagoon, it's over. Even if they're not holding you, even if there's no gas coming for 10 minutes, like you're still screwed. So I don't know, that Lagoon to me is something that looks pretty, but I don't see the point of ever going there. And there's a lot of places like that on this map that I think are really cool. And when I find myself there, I'm like, oh, this is nice. This is like, it's visually interesting. But in terms of like min-maxing or trying to get the most out of your gameplay or just trying to steadily raise your KD over time, which I know is the goal of a lot of the player base, myself included, you're really just looking at, okay, where should I be landing? Where are there high traffic zones? And how can I kind of pick people out of those zones? Now, lastly, we're going to talk a little bit about the actual strategy here for how to rotate around the map, because a lot of people are very bad at this map, and I don't know what it is, but for me and my squad, it seems to have clicked a little bit. So I'm going to give you guys what we've been doing. This could all change dramatically over the course of the year, but right now, our main strat is either landing at peak or airfield, depending on which is closer to the plane. You win whichever POI you land at. So you land peak, you try to win it and hold it. And if you land airfield, you try to hold it in the sense that you hold your area down. Airfield's a really big POI, so you really got to work your way around over there. After you've gotten that initial part down where you're landing and taking control of that area, or even just keeping your squad fairly together, your number one priority for almost every fight you get in, almost every move you make after this should be, how can we get height on these guys? If you see a team, you are not pushing them on ground level. Once in a while, you know, like I said, airfield's really flat, so sure, you can have a fight at ground level there, but why would you? There's so much verticality in this map, meaning in Verdansk, you had to either go up 12 flights of stairs or take a really long zip line. In Caldera, it's really simple to get 20 feet above somebody. It's like 12 seconds of sprinting. So, I mean, at the end of the day, when you're looking at how do I do better on this map, I think the problem for a lot of people is in their rotations, they're so used to Verdansk that they just rotate directly to where they're trying to go, where you really should be rotating up and around and down on the location that you're trying to get in, because A, you don't know if there's people there, but B, even if there's not people there, you're not gonna just rotate right into somewhere, meaning run directly at it. You need to go up and around and over, because there's no way you can know whether or not that area is clear, because Verdansk was super flat. You could pop a UAV and know where somebody is, but even on the TAC map, that the whole map kind of slopes like this, and even knowing that, when I look at my TAC map and I ping something, sometimes I'll say, oh, down below us, and it's actually above us, just because of the way that the map looks. So you need to be taking the verticality into as many circumstances as humanly possible. It'll take you the extra 10 seconds, maybe an extra 20 seconds, maybe an extra 30 seconds, but it'll get you the kills every time. At almost no point have I lost a fight where I was uphill and they were downhill. Like, I actually can't think of one fight I've lost looking down at somebody, but when you're looking up at somebody, I'm sure you're getting flashbacks right now of your first 2 days in Caldera. I mean, dude, that's how you lose every fight. So be that guy up above you. Keep these in mind. Maybe send this video to your squad, see what they think about it. If you guys have a favorite place that I did not mention, let me know what it is and why in the comment section down below. Don't just drop like sub pens is lit, bro. Just tell me why you like sub pens if you do. As always, my name is Pineapple. If you have not subscribed and hit the notification bell, now is the time